Welcome to my Monster Hunter guide. This is going to be for Monster Hunter Wilds. It's been an amazing time playing this game, and I felt like sharing some tips and tricks for those who are beginners and some advanced tips for those who already play this. Should be some things in there for you as we go forward. We're going to look into the weapons. We're going to get into just small little hints and tips and tricks. But first, we want to start off with the options. We're going to go from the beginning here and just talk about a couple of easy, simple things. Some of this is preference, but I believe having smaller areas helps a lot. You can tweak this to your liking. So just take your time and go through it and you'll be fine. Personally, I like clicking on the HUD and then you can see exactly what you're changing. I like the map being somewhat big, so I kept that. There's a couple of other things that I like to have pretty big during the battles, but the rest of them, I like it small and it makes life easier that way, in my opinion. So figure that out for yourself, but this is just somewhere where you want to go to and make sure you check before you get started. And so run through it all. And now we're going to talk about an important one that is a must, I think, for everybody. This mount tends to move automatically. It's a great feature where it would automatically move, but it doesn't stop moving no matter what. So let's just say you're taking a second, maybe to check your phone or do something on the computer, or even just in general, put the control down for a second. This will allow you to just rest and not have to worry if your guy's going to drift somewhere else. So make sure you have that off. Again, preference. If you feel like, hey, I just want to have it to move at all times, it's all good. And go for it. That's on you. But that's not how efficiency works when it comes to the game, in my opinion. Another thing about efficiency and controlling the game yourself, uh putting automatically putting the weapon away, it's not something you want to automatically do. You want to do this manually and know about drawing your weapon and all that stuff. So this right here, having this off is very important, in my opinion. So those are the main ones in the controls area. We're going to move over to the camera. The camera is very important. This is probably the most important one for me, gameplay visually, and it's right here. About camera distance. If I was to show you the difference, I'm gonna kind of go into it, and you can see my character's zooming in, and it was originally at 4. But I like it at 10. It's still pretty far off, but it lets you see you're fighting these big creatures and you need that space. Very important. And that's that with that. And then we're going to move on and check out a couple of other things that I might have changed. And that's pretty much it. When it comes to most of these settings, make sure you have performance mode on if you can have 120 frames per second. The moment I'm recording, I don't have it, but it'll be a good idea. And that's pretty much it for the settings for the most part. Might have missed one or two things in here, but yeah, that should be good. We're gonna move right along into these weapons. This is the biggest part of this tutorial, and the reason why I wanted to make this was because I was just as confused as probably some of the new beginners are, and even the top players that know what they're doing and have played this game. You go through these weapons and you're like, what is the best weapon and what is the best? You can use 2 weapons and you can swap at any time. Of course, this is just the beta, so you don't have like different versions of each of the weapons, but you have each weapon. And so kind of trying to sort out what is the actual best weapon in this game going to take a little bit of time and effort to kind of figure that out. But what I did learn was that dual blades are some of the most easiest. I did not start with this. Actually, this is how I ended my first day of playing this game. And I put in a good amount of hours trying out all the weapons. And the dual blades are the easiest and most effective so far. You can just pick them up and do some heavy duty damage. They have some depth to them, and there's other blades that are even harder. But as you can see here, this has some very cool attacks, has some dodge frames so that you're going to be able to survive better. And it's just a fun way to play. And I'm going to showcase some of that in a second and talk about it. But I also want to talk about this main weapon for the advanced players, this charge blade. I really do like this charge blade. I mean, you have two weapons in one. You have your sword, where you're going to be hacking and slashing with this thing, and you have mobility. And then you can pull out your axe and get very crazy and do some heavy duty damage, which I feel like this dynamic, if you know how to use it properly and create combos and handle things good, as you can see, it really changes the game. These are the weapons that I would recommend for like a beginner. And if you want to get good with a nice weapon, then you can switch over to the other weapon. And so that is my first official recommendation for everybody. To each his own. You might not be comfortable with those weapons and you want to try something different. That's perfectly fine as well, guys. But for me, that was the weapon that did it best. And so I'm gonna come over here, and unfortunately, these poor innocent guys, we're gonna take a quick swing at these guys. So you can see on the bottom, the top left, you have my health and I have my stamina, which are really small right now because I haven't pulled out my weapon. Then when I start fighting, you'll see that it'll pop up. And then there's a green sword. Well, that's my sharpness of the weapon. Then under that is my ability for these dual swords. So I'm going to go ahead and attack so you can see it in action. So this doesn't do much, right? But once I hit R2, I go into this mode where I do charge that up. R2 puts it into, what do they call it? Demon mode. So now all of a sudden I'm full. And then if I press R2 again, go into the secondary mode of this, which there's nobody out here to fight. Where are you guys? I'm trying to do a demonstration. But so then all of a sudden I learn that that's how I do those two modes. But those two modes give me a lot of great attacks. And this is the key that I'll showcase in a second, is these attacks that it offers while in this mode. So you see my dash. I have a very cool dash. Really great abilities. Hitting triangle and circle. See, apologies to these poor little animals, but the point is that's what you're going to be capable of. You hit R2, you switch into this mode. It does eat up some of your stamina, but you can take the enemies out and do your thing and then switch back to the other mode. Right? Very cool stuff. Hopefully I don't get attacked out here. I am going to showcase something very important that's going to help you get better at the game as well. So let's go ahead and just look at these weapons. So this is all you need to know. All right, so you can check out every single weapon's attacks. We're gonna go to the one that just showcased. It shows you every combo you need to know. Right, I hit R2 for demon mode. I press triangle and circle to start up my blade dance, and then I hit it again, which will do the secondary attack, and then do it again. So this is just a spam attack. Pretty basic, straightforward, not too complicated, right? I could remember that. And then the other mode is just twice, tapping it twice, and that's the attack that you got. X, which is the dash that I was just talking about, which is extremely good. When you hit focus mode, L2, and then R1 is gonna do the tide turns. This is kind of like a hardcore finisher if the enemy has a weak spot, but if it doesn't, it's gonna still do a good attack, right? And I love that. And so on top of that, this explains the different modes. You have the demon mode, which I just talked about, pressing R2, and then you have landing shots with the gauge that is there. And then you also have the second mode that I told you, where you're going to be able to have great dashes, dodges, and some of your attacks have frame drops. So it's a very cool system where you're going to play with and just have fun. Basically, have fun with it. You can see these are the basic attacks: triangle, triangle, triangle. Then you have triangle, 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 and then triangle, circle together. Then there's R2, 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 R2. I did not know that was a thing. But you can see that that's its own attack by itself. And then circle, circle, circle. Again, none of these are complicated. They're pretty straightforward. you guys should be able to do all of these. And we're not going to get into the charge blade because there's a lot to talk about and to teach. If you guys want more, hit some likes. Let's get a couple hundred, and I'll do guides for all of this in-depth versions. I just kind of wanted to run through this, man. I want to be honest, this is not like an impressions video, but I'm like into this game now. I've never played any of them. I'm probably gonna go back. I own about 3 of these Monster Hunter games. I've never played them much. Played 20 minutes, 30 minutes. So I'm honestly inspired to play them more. Once this beta ends, I'll be playing it. We could have some fun with it as well, making some videos and content together. But yeah, that's what I'm feeling, and I'm really liking this game overall. I hope you guys are enjoying the beta. If you haven't played it yet, it'll be out for all systems, I believe, this weekend. So check it out. Okay. I'll see you there. Talk to you later. Take care. Peace.